Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slant Hope. And I got another video for y'all. This video is me basically telling y'all, somebody asked me about book recommendations, and I'm only going to give y'all 3, right? And I think these are the most impactful books that I have read. I have read a whole bunch of other books that kind of like changed my life, but this 3 books are like the most impactful books that I read. And I guarantee you, if you understand them the way you're supposed to, they will change your life too. The first book is Black Rage. And I mentioned this before in one of my other videos. If you go to like my earlier videos, I speak about black people reading books on psychology. It's very important. You can't change anything until you understand in your mind what is going on, how you processing things. You have to read books on psychology. So Black Rage is a great book. It came out in 1968. They probably have a new revised version. This is like the old version. I'm pretty sure they got a new version. And I'm gonna read the back real quick. Forcibly uprooted from his home, cut off from his past, robbed of his language and culture, the black man in America has been methodically dehumanized and exploited by our society. Black Rage is the first book to reveal the full dimensions of the emotional conflicts and desperation of the black man in America. The struggle to achieve manhood and womanhood, love and sex, marriage, family life, black character traits, and insidious effects of living heritage of slavery. So this book is a very good book. It speaks about all the things it just mentioned, right? How to struggling to achieve womanhood and manhood. And I talk about all the times how man be acting like woman, woman be acting like man. We have our whole shit about manhood and womanhood is twisted. You know, it's completely twisted, and it's connected to our legacy here in America, right? Or the legacy of enslavement in America. So this book is very important. It helps us pinpoint certain things, why we do certain things, why we interracially date, why we are angry, right? Not just towards other people, but our own people, right? So it gets us to the psyche, to the psychology of a lot of those things. Next, I don't have the book right now because I lent it to somebody. I ain't gonna say no names, but they need to stop playing, give me my book back. But post-traumatic slave syndrome, and I want y'all to read them in a sequence. Read this one first, and then read post-traumatic slave syndrome if you can. And this is a must-read book. I say it all the time. Post-traumatic slave syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGroy. Y'all should go get that. That goes deeper into the study of how trauma, how historical trauma, generational trauma, and reoccurring trauma, everyday life, is altering our DNA. It basically speaks about how a lot of our culture is basically traumatic survival adaptive behavior, which a lot of times we no longer need today. But because we are traumatized, we still act as if we need a lot of those things that helped us survive back in the days. So that's another book I suggest y'all to go get. It's very insightful. It's only about 200 pages, and she did a great job. She also has lectures on YouTube. If you can't read, or if you whatever is going on with you, if you don't want to read, she has lectures on YouTube also. Another book that I would talk about is PsychoCybernetics. I always talk about this book, PsychoCybernetics. Go and get this. I actually stopped reading books about black suffering. I think that but anyway, before I get into that, I'm gonna get into this. So PsychoCybernetics is a very great book. I'm gonna read the back. It says Maltz was the first researcher and author to explain how the self-image has complete control over an individual's ability to achieve any goal. And he developed techniques that anyone can use to improve and manage self-image visualization, mental rehearsal, and relaxation. These techniques have informed and inspire countless motivational gurus, sports psychologists, and self-help practitioners for more than 50 years. Now, why is this book very important? Because one thing that he speaks about the most is the self-image. Now, why is the self-image so important to black people? The self-image is so important to black people because the brain cannot tell the difference between a real image and a false image. Meaning, for example, when we have dreams, your brain can't tell the difference. Your brain feels like it's the same thing going on. The brain can't tell the difference. It can't tell this is not real, this is a dream, this is a simulation. This is why if you're running in your dreams and when you wake up, you're either sweating or your heart beeping fast. If whatever you're going through in your dreams, I one time I was crying in my dreams. And I woke up literally, I had tears running down my eyes, right? Because the brain never sleeps. The brain never really sleeps, right? Because the brain is regulating a lot of the stuff that's going on in your body. So, back to the self-image. Because the brain can't tell the difference between the real image and the false image, this is how we've been tricked and deceived and manipulated. Now, what have we been showed on TV, right? If you look at all the 90s classic movies, it was all about gangbangers and thugs shooting up spots and killing each other and doing certain things. This is imagery, right? When we went to school, we was always shown pictures of us being slaves, right? Like they taught us our history. You started out as a slave. This is why so many people today don't want to believe that African people were in the Americas before European people. Another thing, how they use the imagery. They always showed the pictures of Africa. They always showed those pictures of Africa of starving kids, right? And they never showed us good parts. They never showed us any other imagery. So what did this do? It made us kind of like disassociate ourselves with them. It made us kind of like not want to go to Africa, right? So all of these things, right? All the things they show us about us, right? They always show us the ratchet behavior, and they act like that's everybody in the hood or in the black community. They always show us the thuggish behavior, and they act like that's everybody in the hood, right? They always show the stereotypes, right? Which the stereotypes are kind of true, but they're just it's something that is over generalized sometimes. So my point is, because they have tarnished our self-image, because we never knew who we were, they stripped us of our language, they stripped us of our culture, they stripped us of our heritage, and we didn't know that. We recreated, we basically a whole new race or culture or a whole new ethnic group, right? And they tarnish our self-image, how we look at ourselves. And I'm talking more about this book because a lot of the things that we do as a people is because our self-image is tarnished. It's because some of us really don't believe we can be better. Some of us really don't believe, because when a person becomes successful in the hood, what's like the first thing that they do? A lot of times they'll leave. When you come outside in your hood, you don't see doctors. You don't see lawyers, especially that look like you. You don't see engineers, or you don't see the people that got those good jobs, or the people that we might ascribe to be. You don't see basketball players. You don't see the successful people. So you know what happens? Because you can't see it, you can't achieve it. That shit is some real, I know that sounds like a cheesy line, but this is what this book basically breaks down. And it talks about how the self-image, basically, once you get your self-image together, you can achieve any goal, because it's all about the mindset. He also mentioned he's a plastic surgeon. So he mentioned how he seen beautiful women. He mentioned how he seen beautiful women come to get surgery that didn't really need surgery, but because they had a disturbed, not disturbed, but because they had a negative perception of who they were or how they looked, there was nothing you could tell them. It don't matter how many mirrors they look into, because they felt in their mind that they were ugly. They felt come on, how many women we know? The prettiest women got the most insecurities. Why? Because their self-image is tarnished. So this is why I said we need to read this book. I read this book and it changed my life. It just helped me realize how for a long time I looked at myself like I'm a gangster. I'm a thug. You know what I'm saying? I'm a gangbanger. You know, and I call myself all these different things. And guess what? That's what they used to call me too, right? Them people out there, that's what they call us. They call us thugs. That's not what they call us. You know what I'm saying? Pimps and hoes and whatever else, nappy headed hoe, whatever else they could think of. They call us that. They call us those things. They call us nigger. They call us all these things, right? And we run around using the word today. Our image, self-image. So those 3 books, man, I think if you read those 3 books, then you can get into the other books. Fuck all that shit about the pyramids in Egypt. Fuck all that extra shit that y'all think y'all need before anything else. You need psychological solutions. How they built the pyramids in Egypt is not gonna help you get out your situation today in America. That shit is irrelevant. People be saying here like, well, you know, in Kemet, you know what I'm saying, in the pyramids and the 3 stars, they line up with the sun and the stars of Cyrus. And you know, and what the fuck is that going, how is that going to get the white man foot off your neck in America? I'm sorry, man. I'm getting beside myself. This is supposed to be a calm video. But yeah, you know, if you read these 3 books, they'll help you out. Anything else should come later. If it's not books about psychology and self-help, don't read them. First, you should get these books out the way about the mind, so you could have a strong mind. You know what I'm saying? Your actions don't change without your thoughts and your philosophy changing. So we have to change our thought pattern. We have to change our philosophies first in order to change our actions and our behavior. So I also would encourage people, stop reading about suffering. It's not gonna do nothing for you. Stop reading. It's cool to read history and move on. It's cool to just learn and move on. But don't make it a habit to continuously read about suffering, because all it does, it plagues your mind with hopelessness. That's why a lot of our people is defeated and have given up, because they know what happened to the Panthers. They know what happened to Nat Turner. They know what happened throughout the slave rebellions, even though some of them were successful. But they know how shit usually ends. They know what happened to Malcolm X. They know what happened to Martin Luther King. They know what happened to a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of our leaders, a whole bunch of our heroes. And then when we keep reading that, you put in hopelessness into your mind. See, you don't even realize it. So I'm just trying to tell you, I don't read books about suffering no more. I'm not going to read it. You can't get me to read a book about suffering. I'm not going to do it, because I understand psychology. Again, I study psychology and mental health. I understand how those things plague your mind, and they keep you stressed. Then black people probably got the highest stress levels in America, because we have so much shit on our plate, because we're thinking about so much shit, right? So do yourself a favor. Stop reading those books that's going to cause you more stress, and try to read more books that are solution-based into solving our psychological issues. Okay? Till next time, you have a good one. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Peace.